Hey, welcome in to another episode of Hollywood Mix with Shambi, the podcast. Today we're going to be covering Let's Talk About It, episode number 9. And then if you don't know, in our Let's Talk About It series, this is where we don't skip the hard stuff. We pull it all apart. We sit with it, we look at it, and we talk about it. Now today's case, it's a little bit older. This went down back in September of 2021. But guess what? Social media has done dragged it back up, right into the light, put it out there. And when the people start talking again, that means what? We need to do our jobs and we need to sit down and talk about it as well. So go ahead, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your notebook, grab whatever you need, because today we're going to be diving into a case in Dayton, Ohio. The city of Dayton, the Dayton Police Department, and a man named Mr. Clifford Owensby. A traffic stop, a K-9 unit, body cam footage, a civil lawsuit, a DOJ investigation, and a $125,000 settlement. Yeah, we got layers. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, so what happened on West Grand Avenue? September 30th of 2021, the Dayton Police Department said they were watching a suspected drug house right over on West Grand Avenue. They see a car pull off from that house. They stop it. The driver was none other than Mr. Clifford Owensby. He's black and he's a paraplegic. If you don't know what a paraplegic is, it's a medical condition. You can be born with it. It can happen to you. I believe, I'm not a doctor, but I do believe that, however, it can affect you in different ways to where you are majority dependent on help from others. You can't walk. You can't do a lot for yourself. So, yeah. And he's got a child in the car with him at the time of this stop. Alright, so the body cam footage that News Center 7 had got through public records request shows, and I'm glad it said that because I want to stop right there and give you my little disclaimer, my little spill that I normally do in all these videos. I am no type of law enforcement. I'm no type of medical professional. I am simply an independent podcaster who gathers public information, public knowledge, pieces it all together, and sits down and talks about it with you guys. So all of this was obtained online by news stations, social media, Mr. Owensby himself, the police department, Dayton, Ohio Police Department. So I did want to make that clear. So yeah, the body cam footage that News 7 had got through the public records request, it shows what happened next. When they pulled Mr. Owensby over, they asked him to step out to do, so the K-9 can do what they call free air sniff around the car. Standard procedure, they say. But before I continue, what was the cause? Like, they still have to have, if I'm not mistaken, some kind of probable cause to even want that. Did you smell weed on him, or were you just going off of speculation because you seen someone leaving a known or suspected drug house? I know nothing about this house, so I'm gonna say alleged drug house, okay? I don't want to put nothing on nobody and don't have facts. So yeah. So why did they feel the need that they wanted their K-9 to do a free air sniff around the car? What was the cause of it? Problem number one, and we ain't even all the way through the story. Alright. So, and then they tell him it's standard procedure. With probable cause, though, from my understanding. Mr. Owensby responded, he's like, I can't get out of the car. I'm a paraplegic. Now, you would figure as police officers, they know what the fuck a paraplegic is. You know, no, they're not medical, but I'm sure law enforcement has to go through some kind of medical training, and they know some kind of terminology. And paraplegic is a very known terminology, name of a condition, a disorder. Even if you can't, like myself, in words properly define it, you know what it is. So the officers offer to help him out. Owensby says, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to touch me. Like, what right do you have to touch me? Now, I will be posting videos and pictures that I have gathered at the end of the video, like I always do, so you'll be able to see more in depth of, you know, how Mr. Owensby responded. And from the videos, he was not belligerent, nothing like that at all, until they did what they did, you know. And then he still wasn't really, you know, he's like trying to tell them. So what happened next? This is the reason why we're here. This is why we're telling the story again. And I don't feel like you can ever talk about it enough. I feel like anytime it's brought up, anytime you want to talk about it, things like this need to talk about it need to be talked about, because this is a real life situation. Things like this really happen. This really happened to this gentleman. And it's all speculation of because he left a drug house, alleged drug house, excuse me. So, what happened next? The officers, they forcibly removed Mr. Owensby from the vehicle. Again, paraplegic, cannot walk, cannot move his legs. And they handcuffed him. They dragged him to the police car, the police cruiser. It was all caught on body cam footage. Now, if you've watched or listened to any of my other shows or episodes, especially dealing with things like this, I am huge on why is the body cam footage not good enough? Why? We went through it with Sonia Massey. We went through it with Cherie Moore not long ago. It's been plenty more. Mr. George Floyd, God rest his soul. I was really invested in that case as well. But yeah, so body cam footage. They caught it all on body cam footage. And let me say, I apologize if y'all hear my dog barking in the background. She's a German Shepherd. She's very protective. She's only one. The other dog's asleep. All of it with a child. Hope y'all didn't forget there was a child in the car. All of it with a child watching from the car. He was later charged with 2 misdemeanor traffic violations, window tint, and child restraint seat. Found guilty, fined $150 for each. Alright, so when you stopped him, why was that not mentioned? What is the free air sniff for? Because of window tint? Because of a child restraint seat, excuse me. I'm not saying he was right in either one of those situations, but what does the canine free air sniff have to do with them two? You get what I'm saying? I don't understand it. Again, all on body cam footage. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. Not even close. The internal investigations versus the public outrage. So let's fast forward. The Dayton police chief, Cameron, I can't say his last name, Owensby, announces the results of an internal investigation. What was the conclusion? I'm sure you're thinking that the officers, they supposedly followed policy and training as it existed at the time during the stop. The canine request and the use of force to take Owensby into custody. How the fuck is the use of force okay for a paraplegic man? He's clearly telling y'all that. And then, okay, I'm not saying, let's say for instance, which we clearly know he didn't lie. Because, again, body cam footage. But if he was, as soon as you drug him out that car, and you've seen he could not walk, to keep going, what is the fucking excuse then? You clearly overstepped your boundaries. Either any of these cops, I gotta finish looking through my notes, but if they're named, hopefully they're fired. Or hopefully they were fired. Because this was almost 5 years ago. So yeah. I don't see how that's proper training. I don't see how they followed policy. I don't understand how the canine request had anything to do with their reasons for supposedly stopping him. Alright, you got the alleged drug house. You got the window tint. And you got the child restraint seat. Where in the fuck does that have to do with the canine free air sniff request? You have nothing. Alright, you've seen him come from a drug house. Are you given any purpose or reason to think that he is doing anything in his car with drugs? No. I think it's all a bunch of bullshit, honestly. Alright, and then the use of force to take Owensby into custody. No, you're completely all the way fucking wrong. You, your sheriff, all of y'all. I don't give a fuck if it's 5 years old. Dayton, Ohio. The cops that were there dealing with that shit at the time, dealing with that case, you're all fucking pieces of shit. Shanby said it. The man clearly could not walk. It's on body cam footage, and yeah, I don't give a fuck. But hold up, 2 officers, okay, it does give their names. Wayne Hammock and Vincent Carter did violate policy. How? Exactly. Body-worn camera violations. They muted their cameras at times they shouldn't have. And specifically after Owensby was already in the cruiser. So then they say that Officer Hammock also made a comment to another officer that was deemed inappropriate after the stop. Alright, so it seems like clean cut, some kind of charge, some kind of repercussions. They should suffer some consequences, right? So what was the punishment? No suspension. No loss of pay. And they both got training memorandum. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's a write-up that says what they did was wrong and how to fix it. That's it. Meanwhile, the child that was in the fucking car had to witness this. This gentleman, Mr. Owensby, clearly told you guys there was something wrong with him. He could not physically. He wasn't just defying your orders. He could not physically get out the fucking car. Alright? You drug him out the car. You kept dragging him. You handcuffed him. Had that child watch. So yeah. How to fix it? Put their asses right in the fucking jail. The chief said that his job is to look at the actions of the officers based on the facts, policies, and training in place at the time of each incident. So each incident, so there was more than one incident. Maybe it's further down in my notes. I'm not sure. I've actually had this case sitting on my desk for a couple weeks now because I have other ones lined up. So if your job is to look at the officers based on facts, you're not doing your job very fucking well, because your officers still had their fucking jobs. They were still being paid. They still had their integrity. They still had their dignity, according to them. But you did all this to this child. You physically harmed this man. I'm sure emotionally fucking harmed him as well. But the Dayton unit NAACP wasn't having it good. Dr. Derek Forward, president of the Dayton NAACP, called the findings a travesty and a miscarriage of justice. Absolutely, I fucking agree. Absolutely. He said Owensby was compliant 4 times. He stopped. He rolled the window down. He let them check the tent. He turned the car off. Okay, so where was the need for the force on Mr. Owensby? If he's complying with all your orders, where was the fucking need for that? Again, pieces of shit. All parties involved in doing this to this gentleman and the child that was in the car, you're all pieces of shit. 5 years old incident or not, I don't care. You ain't shit. Ford asked straight up, was his civil rights violated? Absolutely. And absolutely I agree. Why? No drugs were found. Ford argues there was no reason for Owensby to be stopped in the first place. What I've been saying since I started this episode right here. What was the reason? The only reason I'm sure they could come up with is because they've been watching this alleged drug house. They seen him pull off. Just because he pulled off from that house, that does not mean that man was doing anything. Whether he was or not, I don't know. But you have no reason, no proof to say that man did anything wrong at that fucking house. And you still did that. Why'd you choose him? Why didn't you choose to go in the damn house than to chase one gentleman? Did you see that man get out and walk? That should be another question being asked. Did y'all physically see that man get out and walk in that house? If you didn't, then yeah, that gives more leverage on his being a paraplegic. Y'all are fucking stupid. Y'all don't ask the right questions. And that's why a lot of these good police officers get looked down on, because these ain't shit police officers get away with every damn thing. And it's bullshit. And again, with body cam footage. In the community, they showed up. About 30 protesters outside the Dayton City Hall. No justice, no peace, they chanted. Pastor Joshua Ward of Omega Baptist Church said, "We're here because we want to hold our city to that promise. That Dayton would not be the city where people are treated differently, treated unfairly, treated unjustly by the police." Dayton Mayor Jeffrey Mims Jr. even put out a statement. The incident between Mr. Clifford, Owensby, and Dayton police fell short of that standard. It fell below my expectations as well. I wish people would be more clear. I know you're in a professional job, a professional position, a government, but just call it for what it's worth. It's bullshit. The right calls were not made. The man was not protected. The child was not emotionally protected. The officers involved got away with everything. And yeah. The lawsuit, the settlement, the DOJ, less than 2 months after the arrest, Owensby filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Dayton. The result was Dayton City Commission voted to pay him $125,000 in settlement. Now, when you see them numbers, $125,000 sounds like a lot, and it could be. But if you have kids, you have disabilities, you have bills, and you're still young, $125 ain't shit. Or $125,000, excuse me, I stand corrected. And then back to the police officers that did that. They still got constant communication, or constant pay, jobs, things such as that. So when Mr. Owensby $125,000 runs out, right? Them police officers are going to still have jobs, and they're going to still have continuous income. So when his $125,000 is gone, they'll still have money. That's not right. And I bet you it's things like that when they make settlements, they're not thinking about shit like that. It's not right. $125,000. Yes, right about now, I could use $125,000. And yes, I am disabled, but I'm not a paraplegic. I do not have kids. Let me see. I'm sure Mr. Owensby probably had a lot more going on in his life than I do right now, to where that $125,000, it's probably gone. It's probably been gone 5 years ago. Yeah. I bet you them police officers still have jobs and still have income. Mark my fucking words on that shit. So yeah, he got that. But that's not all. The U.S. Department of Justice stepped in. They investigated a traffic stop. And on Monday, the DOJ and City of Dayton announced a settlement. The DOJ's findings were clear. Dayton police provided Owensby with unequal and ineffective services by ordering him to exit and forcibly removing him from the vehicle without a mobility aid. The department failed to reasonably modify policies, practices, and procedures to avoid discrimination. See, so I stand corrected. So there was some other things done, but it should have been done way before. It should have never fucking happened. Proper training, proper background checks of police officers when they're hired, not letting them get away with shit. Accountability goes a long fucking way. So Owensby, his co-counsel, Mr. James Willis, he has said that in this instance, it's clear that they abused this man. Definitely, it's on camera. What the fuck? When they snatched him out of the car when it was obvious. Duh. It was obvious that he was disabled. Exactly, that's what I was saying. So what happens now? The DOJ settlement has time frames, implementation, training, reporting requirements. The chief says DPD will now work with Disability Rights Ohio to train all officers once per year. Excuse me, guys. Oh, okay. I thought something was wrong with my other dog. He's over there playing. They're reviewing and revising policies. But why in the hell does it take for something like this to happen for them to review and revise policies, to require proper training, to take proper steps, to, make these people that do these things to suffer the proper consequences? Like, it's just not fucking right. It takes for all this shit to happen in order for, I can't get my words, you guys, for the proper things to, take place. So what happens now? The DOJ settlement has, okay, we already read that. The reviewing and revising policies, we read that. They even created a new position in the department, staffed by an attorney, to monitor ADA compliance. Okay, so they have somebody in there that's going to monitor the ADA. All right. Well, who's to say that the person that's going to monitor the fucking ADA ain't going to help the ADA? They all worked. It's like our world's damned if we do, damned if we don't. Like, this shit pisses me off so bad. They also amended policy to add a physical disabilities consideration section for arrest and transport. And they've got department-wide ADA training scheduled. Okay, ADA, you know what? I'm so slow, you guys. I'm sorry. When I said to monitor the ADA, I'm thinking assistant district attorney. So, yeah. I completely apologize on that for my little rant about the ADA. I mean, what I said was true, but that's not what the information was talking about. And that's how it really felt, but that's not what the information was talking about. So I do apologize on that. Oh, Lord, I done ripped my paper. Alright, I'll fix it. See, I get to go and get the rambling, you guys, and sometimes I gotta keep reading. Now here's where it gets messy for folks. Community leaders wanted an apology from the department or from the officers. The chief stopped short. Here's what he said. It's not a matter of giving an apology. I'll say, I always feel bad when somebody doesn't have a positive impact with us. I always feel bad when we have to take action based on someone else's action that results in a negative consequence. See, so it's like right there alone, he was making excuses. You know what I mean? To not apologize. That man didn't want to apologize. He didn't give a fuck if that happened to Mr. Owensby. He didn't care. Because if that's the case, the cops would have been gone. Mr. Owensby would have been rewarded way more money. It would have never fucking happened, for starters. He didn't care. It's not about giving an apology, man. Kick rocks with no socks and I hope you fall. Lord, see, I be snapping and stuff like this. Like, this really pissed me off. He said he feels bad for everyone. Owensby, the child in the car, and his officers who were put under the microscope on a case where they were following training. Man, fuck your officers. They were not following training, because if they were following training, they wouldn't have done what they did. Seriously. So I don't feel bad for your officers at all. And there was fucking body cam footage, unless you did something to this shit to fix it, which is definitely a possibility, always. The Dayton FOP Vice President Derek McDonald backed the officers back in October 2021. He said, police officers do not want to be put in these types of situations, but when people repeatedly refuse to cooperate, regardless of their circumstances, officers can't just walk away because a suspect doesn't want to be searched or arrested. What do you mean? Does he know how fucking slow and dumb he sounds by saying that shit? Repeatedly refused to cooperate. A paraplegic man that cannot walk repeatedly refused to fucking get out the car. He wasn't refusing to just get out the car, dumbass. He couldn't get out the car, stupid. You guys. But Dr. Ford and the NAACP, they're not letting it go good. They say this should have been handled under the previous administration. They're pointing to the civil suit and saying that attorneys will address it. Civil suit of the 100. I still disagree with the civil suit for the simple fact that all the money in the world can't help that man survive what happened to him, especially mentally. And then police officers, I'm sure, maybe still have jobs. So why are we talking about it again? Why is it back up? Because the DOJ settlement just dropped. Because the social media doesn't forget. Because that video is still out there. Because the question hasn't been answered for a lot of people. If the officers followed policy, was the policy the problem? That's definitely a thought. So if the officers follow the policy, is the policy fuck what the person's saying. We don't care if they can walk or not. Let's just drag their asses out the car anyway and blame it all on them. Is that their policy? This case sits at the intersection of three things we have to talk about: policing, disability rights, and accountability. Absolutely. I agree. The DOJ said Dayton Police Department failed to modify policies to avoid discrimination. The department says that they're changing now. New training, new policies, new oversight. But for Owensby, for that child in the car, for the community that protested, is that enough? Hell no, it's not enough. It'll never be enough. It'll never be enough until more officers are held accountable for their fucking actions. And again, let me slip in there. I personally do not feel all officers are bad. I do not feel all officers should be treated like such shit. But when you have these piece of shit officers who do this dumb ass shit to these people who are asking for help or who are trying to tell you something about why they can or cannot do something and you're not paying attention, then yes, they make it look bad for the whole profession. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, hell no, it wasn't enough. And then $125,000, like 5 years ago, that money's gone. Unless he invested, that money's gone. Bills, kids, life, medical expenses. But the police probably still have their oncoming, or their incoming incomes, their jobs. The taxpayers' money, that's the city saying we're settling. Without admitting wrongdoing in a civil suit, what does that mean for trust? There is no fucking trust. Because you're just trying to pay somebody to shut up. That doesn't mean that the trust is there because you gave me money. Fuck you. I done lost my spot. I be getting going, y'all. The chief said policies do change and evolve over time. When we see an issue, I would take a look at it. Mayor Mims said we can do better, and I'm committed to continuing that work. That chief needs to be fucking gone, because I feel like he's making up all kinds of excuses for everything. If he's not already gone, he needs to be gone. Like, he's just as bad as the cops that did that shit to Mr. Owensby. But Dr. Ford said it best. Time will tell. Yeah, you're right about that. Alright, so we're about at the end of the information I got. Again, I'll post the pictures and videos that I have or can find at the end. This case got me really fucking heated. It had me heated when I saw it, and I knew I had to talk about it myself. I do the things I do because, oh Lord, I'm about to cry. This case really touched me. I have a heart, and I don't feel like enough people fight for other people's rights. I don't feel like there should be things such as riots. I am, again, 100% Caucasian, but I don't give a fuck about any of that. When it comes to someone being hurt, a child, a disabled person, a mentally ill person, someone who is trying to clearly communicate with an authority figure and they're not being heard. When you have, like, I don't understand things, and can't nobody pay me to understand, because I don't think I'll never understand shit like that. Racism, I have no tolerance for it. I do the podcast I do to help out, to help spread awareness, to advocate. I don't get paid for this, and I don't, maybe one day I'll worry about that, but right now, that's not why I even started doing it. I started doing it because I wanted to help spread the word. I wanted to help others. So, in closing, let's talk about it for real. Look, y'all, this ain't just about dating. It happens everywhere. It's about what happens when training and humanity collide. It's about compliance. What it looks like when someone physically cannot comply. It's about body cams, the footage not being presented or them being muted. It's about a child watching his dad or her dad get dragged from a car knowing that there's nothing the child could do, there's nothing the parent could do. It's about whether I feel bad is the same as we were wrong. And definitely in the case, it's not the same. It's definitely not the fucking same. I don't feel like they felt bad. I don't feel like they wanted to hold accountability. Even if they knew they were wrong, I don't feel like they would say it. And it's about why a 2021 case is back in your feed in 2026. Because the DOJ settlement means the conversation's not over. Because policy changes only matter if culture changes too. Policy changes if we only, I'm not going to say it has to do with cultural, because I don't feel like it's just a cultural thing as well, in my opinion. Yes, it happens possibly more in one culture than it does in another. But it happens in every culture nonetheless. I believe in fighting for all cultures. I believe in fighting for all races. But yeah, in order for this to change, everything about the way it's done has to change. Policies, laws, protections, settlements, accountabilities, consequences, proof, which is why I'm so big on the body cam footage. So I want to hear from y'all. Drop a comment. Was this policy failure or an officer failure? Does annual ADA training fix this? Is $125,000 enough? Should there have been an apology? It should have never fucking happened, in my opinion. But for it to happen and not get an apology, yeah. But I think that's where we're gonna stop the information portion of this. You know, keep watching and you'll see the pictures and the videos. And oh Lord, I can't. This is the first story I've done where I actually cried. So yeah. With that being said, this is Hollywood Mixed with Shambi, the podcast, and this has been the Let's Talk About It series, episode 9. We don't do surface level over here. We do the work. We sit down. We talk. And I'm going to end that with the thought of love your loved ones right. Love them tight. Be careful. Definitely be careful. If there's another case you feel like you might want me to cover or talk about or bring back up, let me know and I'll do my research. But until then, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And till the next time, y'all stay safe out there. And I love you all. Bye.
No matter how you...
In Ohio, a black paraplegic man has filed a complaint with the NAACP against the Dayton Police Department over an encounter captured on an officer's body camera. The video shows police pulling 39-year-old Clifford Owensby by his hair and arms after they say he refused their help getting out of the car. CNN's Laura Jarrett joins us now. Laura, walk us through what happened here.
John, it's another disturbing traffic stop. This one started late last month in Ohio, as you mentioned, after police claimed they saw Clifford Owensby leave what they suspected was a house for drug dealing. Now, the officers stopped his car, and authorities have now released roughly 12 minutes of body cam footage that captures this encounter. The audio makes it difficult to hear at times, but take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm not step out the car. Yeah, I'm not step out the car.
I can't step out the car, sir.
But you got to
I got help getting out.
Well, I'll help you getting out. I'm gonna help you getting out. Get out.
Excuse me?
I'm gonna help you getting out. Get out.
Well, I don't think that's gonna happen, sir. I don't think that's gonna happen, sir.
I do. I'm asking you, but I'm telling you. So it's not an option.
Can I ask you what's the problem?
Yeah, the problem is that
Not going to happen because he can't move his legs. The officer then explains Owensby can't be in the car when a narcotics canine dog sniffs the vehicle. Owensby repeatedly asks for the officer to call a supervisor to the scene.
I can't get out of the vehicle, sir.
I'm going to assist you the other way. As someone assist you to get in the
No,
vehicle.
you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to touch me. And I'm definitely not about to touch me. And I'm about to go ahead and get somebody on the line. Because I will. It will be a lawsuit if you put your hands on me for no reason, bro.
Things are already getting tense, and then they escalate.
Can you come down the street to Ferguson and Grand? The police just pulled me over and they trying to make me get out the car, and I'm telling them I'm a paraplegic. I can't get out the car without no help. And these motherfuckers trying to. They on some shit. Just come down the street, bring some people with cameras.
You're getting out of the car. That's not an option. You're getting out of this car. So you can cooperate and get out of the car, or I'll drag you out of the car. Do you see your two options here?
All right, and then, as you see here, the officers pull Owensby out of the car.
I know I'm paraplegic, bro. You can hurt me. You can hurt me, bro. What are y'all doing, bro?
You're making a
I'm a paraplegic, bro. I'm trying to tell you that I got help getting in the car. Y'all can hurt me. They can hurt me.
Get out of the car.
I'm a paraplegic. Ow.
You have to get out of the car.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Get out of the car.
Somebody help. Somebody help.
Something right here.
Somebody help.
Stop.
Somebody help.
Stop.
Someone help.
Stop.
So are y'all recording this?
Stop.
Somebody help. I'm a paraplegic.
Stop.
They are doing the horrible things to me. Somebody please help me.
Worth noting here, as you hear him screaming as all this is happening, a 3-year-old child was actually in the car at the time. A police report shows Owensby was charged with obstructing official business and resisting arrest, both misdemeanors for what you just saw. The department said the police retrieved a bag with about $22,000 of cash from the car. Owensby says that's his savings, and he points out there were no drugs found in the car and he wasn't charged with any drug-related offenses. The department, for its part, says the Bureau of its professional standards is now investigating this. Meanwhile, Owensby is accusing this department of profiling, unlawful arrest, illegal search and seizure, and failure to read him his rights before taking him to jail. CNN has reached out to James Willis, his attorney, for comment. John, a lot of questions on this one.
That is very difficult to watch and raises a lot of questions. Laura Jarrett, thank you very much.
In our view, were egregious.
Clifford Owensby is now out front. With him is Derek Forward, the president of the Dayton NAACP. I appreciate both of you taking the time to talk about this. Obviously, it's very disturbing to watch this. Clifford, let me start with you. Can you tell me and everyone watching in your own words what happened when you got pulled over?
Once I got pulled over, I was under the impression that I was pulled over for intent, so I was expecting for him to write me a ticket and then be let go so I can continue on about my day. Unfortunately, for me, I ended up with a bad scratch-off lottery ticket, straight to jail.
So, Clifford, I want to replay. It's hard for anyone to watch this. I don't know how many times you've had to rewatch this yourself, but the body cam video when the officers dragged you out of the car. Again, for anyone watching, I want to warn people it's difficult, but I think it's important to understand what really happened to you. Here is part of it.
I know I'm paraplegic, bro. You can hurt me. You can hurt me, bro. What are y'all doing, bro?
You're making a
I'm a paraplegic, bro. I'm trying to tell you that I got help getting in the car. Y'all can hurt me. They can hurt me.
Get out of the car.
Damn, bro. Ow.
You have to get out of the car.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
Get out of the car.
Somebody help. Somebody help.
Clifford, what was going through your head when this happened, when they pulled you out of the car?
I was in fear of my life. All I could do is just close my eyes and grab the steering wheel, and I prayed to God in my head to, make sure that it didn't go the way that it went. And they snatched me out of the vehicle by my hair, and I don't know, it's a constant reminder every day, and I can't get past the fact that, I've been humiliated like that. Never do anyone like that, treat any citizens of Dayton, Ohio, or anywhere else like that.
And I know you talk about the humiliation that you felt. I mean, Derek, with everything that Clifford is saying and with the context that Athena had in her piece here talking about what happened, are you convinced this was racial profiling?
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. We're not going to say that it's racial profiling because the gentleman who actually pulled him out of the car was African American. What this was a pretextual stop that led to an egregious act on a citizen within the United States of America by ways of Clifford Owensby, our client. So the way that we view this is the officer was very aggressive from the beginning. And as Owensby stated, that's why he was fearful of his life when the officer asked him to get out of the car. Number one, you heard the officer state very clearly inside the video that you got one or two things is going to happen. Number one, either you're going to get out the car, or number two, we're going to drag you out of the car.
Right.
So the officer chose the latter. The officer chose to drag him out of the car because number one, was not going to take place because he could not get out of the car on his own. So the officer's actions, in our view, were egregious. He was upset for whatever the case may have been, but this should a traffic stop, a pretextual traffic stop with regarding the tint on his window should not have led to a citizen within these United States of America in the 21st century to be dragged in a car like an animal with his hair drugged across the parking lot. And furthermore, as we take a look at him going to the hospital, or not even the hospital, even getting inside of the police cruiser, our client, they would not even assist our client to get in the police cruiser in a humane way. Then even going to the hospital, the same way, in terms of him being able to get out and being taken care of at the hospital. And then so much so that when they actually took him to jail from the hospital, the intake refused to even accept him. So when the intake refused to accept him at the jail, then after that point in time, he asked the officers to take him back to where they found him because the officers asked him, well, where do you want us to take you? And the officer said, well, can you take me back to where you picked me up? The officer did not do that. And ultimately, he had to call a ride to come pick him up from the jail. So the situation was clearly unnecessary. The officer should have been put on desk duty, should have been put on administrative leave immediately.
Yes.
Until a full investigation ensued.
So, Clifford, let me ask you, and it is, as you emphasize, they are still back on duty as we understand it, right? That there has been no move to desk duty at this point or anything else. Clifford, you talk about thinking you may have been pulled over for tainted windows. The police say that they stopped you because you were leaving a suspected drug house and that because of your felony drug history and weapon history, that's why they requested a narcotics K-9 at the scene. And then the K-9 reacted to your $22,000 in cash, suggesting it was near illegal drugs. Obviously, I know they did not find any in your car, and that's important. But what do you say to all that? They're giving this involved description.
It seemed like I've been profiled. Again, there were no drugs, weapons, or anything found. They just, I don't know. I'm not sure what their intentions were, but they definitely hurt me, and I've been in pain ever since. And having to watch that video over and over, I can't get past it.
And when we take a look at the situation, whether or not it was a known drug house or not, it's his property. He is a businessman inside of our local community. He owns several properties. Yeah. He went over there to get some cable boxes from the property. So he took those cable boxes were in his car, and as he proceeded to take off, then the officer stopped him shortly thereafter. So everything inside of his story is very clear. He went there for a particular purpose.
Yes.
He left there, and the officers decided to stop him with a pretextual stop. So it had nothing to do. They were hoping to find drugs. They were hoping to find weapons. They were hoping to find something illegal to charge him with. But in this particular case, that did not happen. We cannot change, the police department cannot change the narrative of what happened on this particular stop.
Well, certainly it was obviously incredibly hard to watch, and I know humiliating and painful for you. So, Clifford, thank you for telling your story. Thank you both for coming on and explaining it. I really appreciate it, and I know everyone watching does too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you both.